Are you and your partner a good fit? Have you thought about that and what that means? Does it mean that you enjoy the same jokes? That they make you laugh? Does it mean that you enjoy the same activities and the same hobbies? Does it mean that you have great sex? Does it mean that you find them physically attractive? Well, I guess those things are really important in a relationship, or to some people. Everybody's different, but if you just base your relationship on those things alone, I think it's a little bit flaky. I believe that if you are in a long-term committed relationship, it means more than that. It's about having the same core beliefs and values, or at least quite a few of them. Because if you are not connected in that way, then it's going to make life quite difficult. Because those things that I mentioned can change quite easily. But your core beliefs and values probably are less likely to change. What makes you the person you really are? What do you stand for in this world? What do you really want from life? So when you get together with somebody, you really need to have some kind of a contract. Well, let's face it, you wouldn't take a job unless you knew what you were getting into. You wouldn't say, okay, yeah, that job looks all right. They're going to pay me money and off I go. Well, being paid for the job is part of the contract. But there's more to it than that. It's whether the working hours fit with you, whether it's a kind of job that you'd enjoy and you're able to do. It's whether or not, if you're into having a career, whether that will fit with your long-term goals. And that really is the same with a relationship. Whether you are somebody who's adventurous and wants to travel the world, if that's what you want to do and it really is important for you, then being with somebody who's a home bird and doesn't want to travel outside of the town they live in and never have done, and the thought of it would really terrify them, or they would not be able to leave their family of origin, that's going to cause real problems in the future, because one or other may feel they have to compromise and not follow their dream and their passion, or they're going to really decide digging their heels into it anyway, which is going to leave the other person alone, because they may not want to follow that person, or they may not want to stay at home. So you can see that could cause huge issues. What if one of you wants to have children and the other one says, no, there's no way I want to have children? Okay, you may not be fortunate enough to have children. It's not that gift that's given to everybody. But if one person decides that's what they want and the other person doesn't, and you enter into that long-term relationship in the belief that you can change that other person's mind, that is going to cause real problems. It's going to cause unhappiness, friction, resentments, and in some cases I've actually seen a situation where one person's been tricked because they've stopped taking birth control and the other one's been forced into being that parent they don't want to be. Or if they reluctantly agree, further down the line, again, it can cause real resentments. So it's something that's really fundamentally important to a relationship. Equally, your beliefs. If you're a strong kind of believer in human rights and the other person isn't, how might that affect your relationship? If one of you really wants to study and train and really wants to invest in their career, if the other person isn't prepared to support them, again, that can cause fundamental problems. What are your thoughts about finances? Money? We each have a different view of the world, and it's important that those views and those beliefs, well, they're not going to fit exactly because we are all different, but it's important to really explore them and see what fits and what doesn't. Talk about it before you go through in spending that time together and committing to that relationship. It might seem a bit cold-hearted in some ways, you fall in love and everything's rosy and magical and you don't want to make any thoughts about those hard facts, but they're really, really important, because once you're in that relationship and you've got down to out of that honeymoon period, which I think is absolutely amazing, but once you get into the everyday routine, that's when the real relationship starts. And if you haven't ironed out some of these issues in the beginning, then you're going to find it even tougher. And you may discover that actually you're not a good fit when you've made that investment, when you've decided that you're really going to be committed to each other. And that carries a lot more heartache than if you decide in the beginning that you are not a good fit together. So take some time out and talk about these things. Really think about them. Get to know yourself and what makes you the person you are.